I have something that will interest a lot of you. This is an area where I work currently, and I'm going to be sharing from my experience what you need to know if you are coming into the UK as a domiciliary care worker. Even if you're not currently coming, you are applying, just to give you an idea of what is involved working as a domiciliary care. This also cuts across other healthcare, but I'm talking majorly today what you need to know about working as a healthcare assistant or a support worker, a domiciliary or home care worker. I'm giving it all today. So in your own interest, watch till the very end. Hello guys, hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jane Sampson and this is my community, Janie's Hub. If you're seeing my face for the very first time, hello, nice to meet you. Well, if you're returning subscribers, you know how we do it here. You guys are the real MVP. I recently relocated into the UK as a healthcare worker, and on this channel I share views, I share opinions, advice, ideas. I share a whole lot about how to relocate into the UK, things you need to know. All right, today I am here with the bomb. I'm here with the bomb of questions a lot of you have been asking me in the comments. I get a lot of emails. Now guys, I need to put this disclaimer out, very, very important. I do not have any Telegram group for now. I do not have any WhatsApp group for now. I do not contact, and nobody contacts me via WhatsApp or via phone calls. The only way I communicate with people is via email or via a one-on-one section, and I always have the link in the description. So anybody coming to you via WhatsApp, via Telegram or whatsoever saying is Jane Sampson, it is not me. Do not be scammed. I have my description for a one-on-one section in my link for description and the description. And if you want to connect with me, you can shoot me an email, and my email is in the description. Alright guys, so please do not be scammed. So today I'll be jumping straight into the video, and I have a bomb to share. I have something that will interest a lot of you. This is an area where I work currently, and I'm going to be sharing from my experience what you need to know if you are coming into the UK as a domiciliary care worker. Even if you're not currently coming, you are applying, just to give you an idea of what is involved working as a domiciliary care. This also cuts across other healthcare, but I'm talking majorly today what you need to know about working as a healthcare assistant or a support worker, a domiciliary or home care worker. I'm giving it all today. So in your own interest, watch till the very end, because I'll be sharing everything, I'll be exposing everything that you really need to know. Don't edit this video, don't jump, watch till the very end. I promise you it will be worth your while. Alright, so guys, basically working as a domiciliary carer, I've spoke about this in my previous video. Working as a domiciliary carer or as a home carer involves you going into the homes of your clients or of your service user. So you drive or you walk or you cycle or you take the bus where you go into their own homes. Now you do, the things you do for them range from taking care of their personal needs, their personal care, hygiene, running errands for them, administering medications if you're medication trained, moving them from the bed to the chair or from the chair to the bed, using equipment if you're trained to do so, helping them with their meals, keeping them company. These are things that you do for them when you go into their own homes. Now, these are a set of people who don't want to go into care homes or residential homes. They want to be taken care of, in their own home. That's what domiciliary care is all about, basically, right? Now, for some people, we have different calls. We call them calls. Calls mean going to them in the morning. We have the morning call. This is when you go into their homes, to wake them up, give them a wash, administer their personal care. We have the afternoon call or the lunch call, where you go and help them with their meals, or if they have errands to run, or they have medications to take at lunchtime. We also have the evening call, which is the tea time, where you go maybe to help them with their tea time food, or to do whatever, depends on their care plans. Then the night call, which is the bedtime call, where you go and help them put them to bed. All right, so this is what it is basically. Now domiciliary involves you moving from one place to another. Now, for some companies, they might give you a car. Some you might have to use your own car. Some you have to cycle. Some you have to use bikes. Some you have to go by the bus. and some maybe they're just within an area where you have to walk from one client to another. So it depends, all right? But in most cases, you have a car where you have to go from one place to another. So that is what it is basically. Now I'm just going to be sharing with you what things you need to know, that you used to have at the back of your mind, that working as a domiciliary care, this is what it actually entails. Now I'm speaking from my perspective because I drive. Now it involves a lot of driving. Now take for example where you have 4 or 5 clients and you have to go to them for the morning, afternoon, evening and night calls. It's not the same for everybody, all right? So for some people it might just be 2 calls in a day, for some it might just be 3 calls, for some it might just be 4 calls. And for each of these clients, you have to go to their home. So you drive from one client to another. Now, in the course of doing this, you have to do this within a space of time. So you're driving from here to another. You have to arrive at a particular time, and you have to leave at a particular time. That's where the constraint is. You have to understand that you're working within a time. So you don't just drive at your own time and go whenever you want. No, you have to arrive at a certain time. So you have a time frame. You have to arrive. You have a time. Of course, there's also a time frame where there's also gap for coming late or coming too early. All right, depends on your company, depends on the policy. So you have to have this at the back of your mind, that you're working within a time frame. Now, some people ask, oh, are you just going to be going around like that? There are breaks in between. It depends. You might have short breaks in between. Depends if you're having a long day call or if you're having a short day call. But if you're having a long day call, I'm telling you for a fact that it is quite intensive. Going from one client to another, morning, afternoon, evening and night calls, it takes you all round and it can be quite extensive and intensive. All right, so just have this at the back of your mind. Now I also want to bring out this point that it involves you working under pressure. Now when you're driving from, you know what it is to driving from point A to point B, you meet different things across the road. Sometimes you can go to a particular road and the road is blocked. You now have to find your way around, look for another road. Sometimes something can happen on the road. Sometimes you're running late. You meet different kind of things on the road. So it involves you working under pressure. While you are working under pressure, you also have to calm yourself down, because by the time you get to your client, that is when your job actually starts, because that's when you start administering the care according to the care plan. All right, so you have to put all these facts behind your mind, that you really need to build your tenacity, that you'll be working under pressure, okay, driving on the road. The good thing is that the roads in the UK are good. A lot of UK residents are law abiding. They abide by the rules used, they abide by the road regulations, and of course I find British drivers very, very polite. Unlike where most of us are coming from, where we used to drag road, who will go first. But here people are very polite. People allow you to enter the road. If you're struggling, people just give you a chance. They are really, really polite, and I give it to them. Okay, so don't be afraid. They are, driving here is quite easy, especially if you can know your way around. All right, now my next point I want to bring out is that you need to find your way to your client by using the Google map. I said it in my previous video that one of the skills you need to have if you're coming to the UK to work is knowing how to use Google Map. Guys, if you need to start learning it like yesterday, Google Map is what helps you navigate your way around. All right, I found I struggle with it a little bit, especially navigating the road, knowing where to turn. So my best advice is when you arrive at your domiciliary carer, get someone from the company or get someone who knows the way around to at least take you on the road tour, on a tour of the road, so that you can learn how to use the map. You can also know how to use the map, know where to navigate, know how to read the signals on the map, knowing where to turn at the roundabout, knowing which lane to take, knowing what the road signs are saying. Back home, a lot of us, this road sign, people don't really obey road signs, but you need to know this road sign so you don't get into hot water, because you can easily get into trouble when you don't obey this road sign, and before you see it, you're hitting someone, or someone is hitting you, or you're evading traffic, and the traffic, because here nobody comes to come and tell you to stop or not. The camera will just snap you and bring your charge through the post. All right, so my best advice is get someone in your company, maybe a previous worker or whoever, to just help you navigate using the road, the map, the Google map. Okay. Right, now guys, it is also very important that while you are providing care as a domiciliary carer, you are abiding by your company's policy. Every company have their policy. My company, we use the app where we record our client details for the day. You have to ensure that you log into the app, you put in every details, and I always advise always put in as much details as possible. If you have follow your training, you have been trained. That is the reason why you take training. We're not just taking the training for training sake. You're taking this training because you are going to apply them in the course of working. So follow your training. If there's any issue, call your employers, call your managers, call whoever that is involved. If you feel there's any concern, record it as much as possible. Put down enough details for recording. It is really, really important, guys, because this is what will save you in case an issue arises. Like they say here, if it is not documented, it didn't happen. All right, so ensure to document as much as you can. If it means writing on a book, writing on the app, this is really, really important. Follow the policies, follow the care plan of every client. Now, every client has a care plan. What applies to client A does not apply to client B. You have to have that at the back of your mind, so you don't say, oh, that's the way it's done. No, client A might have a different plan, of course, have a different plan entirely. So for every client to go to their client plan, look at their needs, look at their assessment, and follow it to the latter, so that when something happens, you can say, yes, I followed this plan, and this is what I abided to. Okay, we also have what we call the CQC regulations. I would advise you when you come in, try and abide yourself with the CQC regulation, because this is what governs all the healthcare regulations in the UK, just to keep yourself safe from getting into trouble. Every client is different. Abide by the care plan of every client. Go into their homes and abide by their rules. Okay, now I also want to bring out one point. Now, for every client you go into their homes, they have their rules, they have their regulations, they have the way they want things around them. It's just in your best interest to go in and abide to the way they want things done, not the way you want it done. There's this very high temptation to want to go in, oh, this is the way I know how to do it. It's not the way you know how to. You do it the way they want it to be done, especially in accordance to the regulations and policies of healthcare, not the way you feel. So you come into a home, a particular client wants things in a particular way, do it the way they want it, as long as you're not failing in the regulations that you are taught in your training. All right, you really need to remember this, so that you don't get yourself into trouble of trying to want to go and do over sabi, or no, this is how I do it. As long as you're in line with the policies, with the regulations, follow their rules and follow their interests. At the end of the day, it is them you're caring for, and it is them that you're following their rules. Guys, working as a domiciliary carer involves what to call working alone, lone caring, lone working. So most times you're working or you're driving, unlike working in a care home where you have other carers who are around and you can call for help or you can call for assistance. Most times you are working alone, even though we have what we call the double. Double means you're two of you who are going into a particular client, especially those clients that are bedbound, or those who are on the wheelchair, or those who can't really help themselves. You need to be two of you. But sometimes there are some single clients where you have to be alone. Now, while you are working alone, remember that you have to be alert all the time in case there is an issue. Remember that you need to have the phone calls, the phone numbers of people to call in case any emergency arises, because you're all alone. The person you're caring for is vulnerable. So you need to know the emergency numbers to call. You need to know what to do if an issue arises. That is why you need to have your care training at the back of your hands. Okay, so that is another thing. Sometimes you're walking alone. Also, another thing is most times you're driving for very far distance. Guys, when I mean far distance, I mean far distance. I'll have to drive up to 30 minutes, more than 30 minutes to see one client. 30 minutes going, 45 minutes to the next client. Yes, it can be that interesting. So these are the things you need to know. Sometimes you're driving for a very long time. Sometimes you're driving into very remote areas. I was driving one day and I saw a deer on the main road. I was like, wow, I wish I could stop and take a picture. All right, these are interesting things that you witness working as a domiciliary carer. Now, while you're doing this, I need to bring this out. The drive you drive on the road, you're not paid for the hours, your minutes you spend on the road. That's my company. I don't know about others. Your pay starts to count the minute you get into the house, the home of whoever you're caring for. So for example, you have a 30 minutes or 45 minutes stay in the home of the client. That is what you're paid for. But you can be paid for mileage. That's the time you drive on the road, or your company fuels your car. All right, so that is how you are paid. Whatever way, if you ask me, it is worth it, even though yet it can be very, very demanding. All right, okay guys, I want to bring this out. In cases where your client live with their family members, This is another case. In some clients, they live with their family, maybe their children or their husband or their wife or their relation. In this case, you need to be very, very careful. Of course, you need to be careful at all times, but in this case, you need to be very watchful, because sometimes, it's not easy, eyes on you and all that. That is why you need to make sure you have your training at all times. You know what you're doing, you know the rules, you know the regulation, so that when you come in, you do what you're meant to do and you go home in peace. Because sometimes very little mistake, before you know, it's something you think, oh, it's not a big deal, you can just get escalated very, very fast, and you're wondering, how did this happen? So remember, and even as you're working with these clients who live with a family member, remember that you're not their slave. No, you're not their house girl. You're there to care for the service user. Have that at the back of your mind, so you don't come in and everybody finish eating and they pack plate and food the sink and you go and start washing it. No, it's not part of the day. You're a carer, not a cleaner, not a house girl. Okay, depends on your company. Doesn't mean you not do light housework. Yes, it's part of the care job, but where you come in and you're being seen as, okay, our house girl has arrived, or our boy or our slave has arrived. No, you need to bear that at the back of your mind, that you are a carer and you are there to provide care. Right, guys, now in some cases where you have to do what we call doubles, like I said earlier, you're doubling up with another colleague, where you have to provide care to a particular client that needs more than one person to care for them. My best advice is, do not go into the client's house alone. The reason is because in case something happened, you might go into the client's home and something happened, and you might be tempted to want to do it on your own. If there's an issue, the first question will be, why were you there alone? You're meant to be two of you, okay? So always ensure that you go into the home of your client as a double, if you have been assigned as a double. Also, very, very important, when you go into some clients, they have what we call the key safe, all right, where they put the keys of their houses outside, like a safe where they put the keys. Do not share this code with anybody. Do not go around, maybe you want to open the code and people are passing, you're just pressing it. No, you have to be very discreet. You have to be very discreet about the code, because this is confidential information that was handed over to you. Confidentiality, right? We did that as part of our 15K certificate, okay? So you have to be very, very discreet about sharing information about your client. And whatever you see in the home of your client, remain in the home of your client, unless you're sharing it with your colleague who needs to know, or with your managers, or with the family members. Now, this is really, really important, guys. Most times, or sometimes, you might come into the home of a client and you meet an emergency. You need to know what to do in the case of emergency. You need to know the numbers. You need to know the numbers to call. You need to have your phone number intact. You need to know how to raise a concern. These are things that you need to have at the back of your hands. Guys, another good point is that you will meet different kind of clients. Different kinds, yes. You will meet different kind of clients. You meet different personalities. You just have to be open-minded and be ready to, okay, you go into a home of a client. This is how this client is. That's their personality. Why? You understand that you are there to provide care. You are there to also protect yourself, protect your integrity, protect your company that you're working for while you are providing care. Holding your head high. Even though, yes, I'm a carer, I also deserve to be respected, while I give respect and I give dignity. Okay, but like I said, you meet different kind of client. Know what to do. If you have any issues, do not fail to contact your employers or your managers immediately. Don't say, oh, let me just forget about it. No. If you have any questions, always ask questions. Don't fail to ask questions. Most times, not asking questions could get you into trouble. But if you ask questions, you will have answers. I ask questions a lot. What do I do in this scenario? This is what is happening. What do? I always put these things down, and that is what you should always do. Right. So, guys, one last point I want to talk about is use of equipment. Now, in this job, there are different kind of equipment you can use for your client. We have the hoist, we have the mover. There are different things you can use. You are meant to be trained to use each of these equipments. And I'm saying to you, of course, you'd have been told in your training that if you don't know how to use them, do not be tempted to even use it. If you're asked to use it, tell them, sorry, I have not been trained to use this particular equipment. All right? And let your employers know so that they can give you the appropriate training. Because if anything happens, you will go down for it. Okay? So make sure you don't use equipment. You have not been trained. I have not been trained to use it. Okay? I also want to put this out. For example, you come to the home of a client and there was an emergency, or you meet your client on the floor. Guys, do not be tempted to pick them up from the floor. Oh, the person's on the ground, because you don't know how long they've been on the floor. Your first point of call is to call the emergency services, call your manager so that they can come in and assess the person. That is what you're meant to do. You're not meant to go and grab the person and drag the person up. Hey, wake up, I've caught you from the floor and all that. No. Okay, so like I said, go through your training. There's so many things you also need to know. Remind yourself of this job. But domiciliary caring can be intense. It can be, put you under pressure. It can also be very rewarding. Bear in mind also that the people you're caring for, remember to show empathy. Remember to show compassion. These people, they are almost at the end, at the end of their life. These are people that have lived very good life, people that have had the best of their lives. So it's also a privilege to care for these people. So while you're caring for them, whatever comes your way, remember to show compassion. Remember to show empathy. Remember that, if they have their way, they'll be caring for themselves all by themselves. They will not be needing you. Okay? So guys, always remember this. If you have any question about domiciliary care, go ahead, put it in the subscription, put it in the comments, and I'll answer your question. Well, if by now you've gotten to this point and you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? There is so much coming from this channel, so you better go ahead and subscribe. So guys, like I said, if you're still interested in getting a job in the UK, I provide a one-on-one section where we can go through your CV, you can go through your cover letter, and just fine tune it and make it explosive so that you start getting the calls for interviews. If you need a one-on-one section, I have a link in the description. You can go ahead and hit me up and we'll see how we can get you started. Right guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got value. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Leave your comments, leave your questions, and I will answer at my best convenience. It's nice once again to connect with you guys. I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care and bye-bye.